Hello, my name is Jim Edwards, and today I'll be discussing my nursing philosophy. My nursing philosophy has to do with how emergency medicine affects patients. Emergency medicine consists of rapid treatment from point of injury to point of admission. It consists of treatment rendered by bystanders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, flight nurses, and emergency department staff. It can range from tourniquets to basic splinting. Nursing My nursing philosophy has been affected by emergency medicine in that I have been in emergency medicine since I began uh, working as a lifeguard at the age of 15. Uh, while working there, I had to do CPR. I spent several days each year learning basic first aid, how to render appropriate interventions at a very young time in my life. From there, I went on to become a combat medic in the United States Army, where I learned how to do things such as uh, chest tubes and needle chest decompressions, emergency cricothyroidotomies, and things of that nature. I was able to practice my skills during a 9-month deployment in Afghanistan, as well as a 9-month deployment working in South Korea, not necessarily doing emergency medicine, but doing local care for South Koreans. Emergency medicine to me is so important because of what it does. It ensures that a patient is able to make it to a hospital in time, um, to the best of the EMTs or the medics or paramedics' abilities. Emergency medicine is beautiful because it is a highly unbiased field of medicine. Uh, when you're on a floor and you're interacting with a patient for several days or at least hours, you have a tendency to develop biases. With emergency medicine, due to the fact that typically the amount of time spent with a patient is very short, you have a tendency to not develop those biases for that specific patient. Um, which is beautiful because I believe that every person has a right to medical care, regardless of a patient's financial status, where they live, who they are, what they do. Uh, I spent during my time in Afghanistan uh, several hours working on Taliban soldiers. So emergency medicine is truly a very unbiased field of care. Lifelong learning in emergency medicine is incredibly important due to the constant new techniques, new ideas, new therapies, everything that is constantly being updated. Things such as flutter valves for occlusive dressings on a sucking chest wound, um, leaving them versus taping them down, things of that nature. Uh, Lifelong learning is so important because without those uh, those new skills being taught or the new techniques being developed, patients are going to have a less of a likelihood of surviving. So lifelong learning in emergency medicine is incredibly important. Like I said in the slides, seemingly insignificant things such as taping down four sides versus leaving a flutter valve. That can be the difference between somebody developing a pneumothorax or them being able to make it to the hospital with that sucking chest wound being covered with an occlusive dressing. My long-term nursing goals consist of several things. My plan is to go into work as an emergency department nurse. I would love to spend several years working in that field and get a good basis of understanding for how in-hospital care works. My goal after that would be to continue on in my education and go back to school and receive my paramedic certification, as well as my flight nurse certification. A lot of flight agencies require flight nurses to have a paramedic certification in order to practice. So that would give me a very interesting blend of in-hospital point of view versus that point of injury contact. Um, and then eventually I would like to go and become a registered nurse anesthetist. Um, and I would like to finish my career doing something of that nature. In summary, emergency medicine and nursing go hand in hand. Without point of injury care, patients won't survive long enough to reach a hospital. And without in hospital care, point of injury care is fruitless. Emergency medicine is a truly unique branch of medicine that impacts almost every person at one point in their lives. I personally have been involved since I was 15. Before I was involved as a provider of any type, I was taken to an ambulance when I was, or taken to the hospital by ambulance in the 5th grade for a severely broken finger. So it truly is ubiquitous in that it impacts every single person or almost every single person at some point in their life. The fast-paced world of emergency medicine has impacted my life and shaped my personal nursing philosophy. I'm 25 years old, and I've spent the last 8 years of my life working strictly in emergency medicine through a military and a civilian uh, uh, point of view. And it really and truly is such a very important part of my life. And it's a very important part of so many people's lives because they truly depend on emergency medicine uh, on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.